Game On.
Watch X Play weeknights 11 p.m., 10 p.m. Central, only on Tech TV.
While Sony was unveiling what it thinks will be the ultimate mobile gaming system this year, Nintendo had its own slice of handheld heaven on parade, the DS. The Big N was also showing off its latest slew of killer apps, including a new installment in the Zelda series.
Over the years, I know you've heard a lot of Nintendo people say, we're all about the game. Well, guess what? We are. As this company moves forward, you're going to see more Nintendo games and different Nintendo games, and most importantly, new ways for you to relate to your game. But let me tell you one other thing. This is not a promise for what we're going to do sometime in the future. It's what we're doing right now. What we've talked about today are can't-miss products for Nintendo GameCube and Game Boy Advance. Games you'll be playing very soon. But there's something else in our future. Well, the wait is over. This is Nintendo DS.
The Nintendo DS is really designed with developers in mind. They can do whatever they want, basically. It's a first system that you can really create your interface. With the touch screen, it really opens up new windows. Nintendo DS is backward compatible for Game Boy Advance games. We have a proprietary technology that will allow you to play wirelessly. Then the system will also be Wi-Fi compatible, so you could interact with friends in another state, another time zone. We didn't announce a price for a Nintendo DS, and we are saying it will be affordable, and unfortunately that's all we're saying right now. This is something that's new. This is something that's innovative. You haven't seen this before. You haven't played games like this before.
The benefits of DS will be rolling out for months and years following launch. And when will that launch come? We're targeting release of Nintendo DS in both Japan and America this year. I hope you've all enjoyed our program this morning. But before you leave, I'd like you to step inside one more world for Nintendo GameCube.
I'm not Link, but I do know him. Even after 18 years, the Legend of Zelda never stops changing. And this game is no different. In order to grow, Link must not stand still. And neither can I. So, thank you. And goodbye.
The name Doug Lowenstein may not ring a bell, but you're definitely familiar with his work. He's the president of the Entertainment Software Association, the company behind the craziness of E3. We had a chance to talk to Lowenstein to get his take on the state of the industry.
It is really hard to believe that it's been 10 years since the inaugural E3 show in May of 1995. And as I was thinking about what was then and what's now, I was struck just by how much really is different.
This is the 10th anniversary of the Electronic Entertainment Expo, and it's a chance for us to reflect back on an amazing 10 years. We started this show in 1995, and we really didn't know whether it would succeed or fail. In fact, a lot of people thought it would fail very quickly. And instead, it's turned out to be one of the most successful trade shows in the world.
44 years ago, John Kennedy stood not far from this site and talked about a new frontier of unknown peril and unknown opportunity. And in a sense, obviously he was speaking of much more globally important matters, but he really could have been referring to interactive entertainment today. For we are on the edge of a new frontier, and it is a frontier of unquestioned opportunity, but also of some peril.
Our industry is on the edge of this new frontier of gaming, and we also have these great opportunities to push this industry ahead in the next 10 years to truly become the dominant form of entertainment in the 21st century.
Another frontier I think we're going to cross in the next decade involves online games. For much of the last decade, of course, we've been hearing that online games are the future. By 2014, the future will have arrived.
There are a lot of exciting things that are going to happen. One is the audience is going to continue to grow older, and that's a good thing because it means we're also going to have a more sophisticated and discerning audience. I think we're also going to see an audience that's more mass market oriented.
In fact, I think the words of Robert Hunter as sung by really do sum up much of my feelings and emotions of the last 10 years. Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately, it occurs to me what a long, strange trip it's been.
Capcom may have built its reputation on the strength of the Resident Evil series, but there's much more than meets the eye from this Japanese giant. From Beautiful Joe 2 to Monster Hunter, Capcom held its own on the show floor.
Resident Evil 4, obviously, it's one of our flagship titles. It's a beautiful game. We've already gotten one of the Best of Show nominations, so we're looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Basically, what Resident Evil 4 is it's a departure from the old. It's what I like to call the new school Resident Evil. We bring back the action, we bring back the weapons. I mean, you can get a shotgun and blow the zombie's head off and stuff like that. I mean, all the stuff that the fans have always loved, we kept in the Resident Evil series. Resident Evil 4 this time is exclusively for the GameCube. It'll be coming out this winter.
Beautiful Joe 2 is a continuation of Beautiful Joe 1, which won a lot of awards on the GameCube. It's picking up the story. We're back in the movies with Joe. This time you'll be able to play as Sylvia as well from the very beginning, and you're going to be beating the bad guys, lots of cool VFX powers, lots of cool transformations for your 6 machine, and it's basically taking the same formula and making it a whole lot better. You'll still have all the cool moves, the VFX powers, slow-mo and Mach speed. You have more VFX powers, a lot of the same moves. 6 machine is also back, and the 6 machine will be able to transform into things like a race car, a cannon, a giant robot, a submarine, lots of cool things.
Monster Hunter is an online adventure that supports up to 4 people and also has a single-player offline mode. Anything you do online can be taken offline, and what you're doing is monsters. It's kind of an RPG with a lot of action, so it's a really fast-paced game. You're constantly fighting, looking for things to do, different quests that you need to complete. You'll build your character from scratch. You customize the way it looks, and you're just trying to be a hunter and gain experience points that way. And different quests you do and different adventures will allow you to grow as a character.
When Nokia launched its first mobile gaming system, the N-Gage, last year, it was greeted with lukewarm reviews and sales to match. Not wanting to miss the handheld boat, the company quickly redesigned the N-Gage, and they're calling it the QD.
Nokia really sees life going mobile. It's all about multiplayer. It's all about connected. And the N-Gage and the N-Gage QD, our entire platform is centered around mobile multiplayer gaming and bringing a whole new generation of gaming to gamers worldwide. Nokia has learned a lot of lessons from the industry. We've taken feedback. We've taken our bumps and bruises like any big kid would, and we've tried to make some adjustments to the product. It's about 20% smaller than the original N-Gage. Really compact, tight little device that's focused on gaming, and of course it's a mobile smartphone as well. Nokia has led the way in innovating mobile gaming. We entered the market last year with N-Gage and the entire N-Gage platform. For us, it's about the device, it's about the titles, and it's all about N-Gage Arena, where gamers can connect worldwide and play in over 120 countries over the air, conquer, challenge, compete, and become #1 in the world on any number of titles. So we're really seen as innovators in this space and look to continue in that front.
Battle Glory is a war game with a heavy strategy element and excellent multiplayer and community features. There are 2 different game modes for multiplayer. We call it local battleground and global battleground. Local battleground is playable via Bluetooth up to 6 players. Not revealing the figure, but there will be several players, more than 6, in the game at the same time.
N-Gage is going to go on sale in stores June 29th in the US. It's going to be available at all the major GSM operators. So with the plan, you can get this product for as low as $99.
There's more to come on the Pulse E3 special. After the break, Electronic Arts isn't happy with being the biggest. It also wants to be the best. We'll show you what EA had to offer.
We also had the chance to talk with the czar of Sim, Will Wright, who'll give us a scoop on his latest games. That's coming up right here on the Pulse E3 special.
X-Play, tonight at 11/10 Central, only on Tech TV.
G4 Tech TV, coming May 28th.
Stay connected. Missed E3 this year? Don't worry, X-Play went, and they're bringing it to you.
Let's check it out.
Adam and Morgan give you the scoop on the hottest new games, straight from the convention floor.
Take a gander at these fine offerings.
So put your game face on and let the fun begin. X-Play at E3. Thursday and Friday night at 11:10 Central. Only on Tech TV.
THQ is anything but a one-trick pony. Whether it's an alien invasion, a full-on military sim, or a superhero with the dark side, the company knows how to spice things up. And at this year's E3, they continued their tradition of giving gamers plenty of options.
Full Spectrum Warrior is a squad-based tactical action game that plays pretty similar to a strategy or an RPG game. You control two fire teams, Alpha and Bravo team, and by coordinating their actions, you allow for what the Army would call flank and maneuver kind of gameplay, where one team is responsible for the assault team, they're responsible for engaging an enemy, and the other team would be the maneuver element, they're responsible for maneuvering around and taking the enemy out. We're fighting in a fictitious city called Zekistan that we created, and it's a coalition force that's going in to reclaim the city from an insurgent government that is performing genocide on the local people.
You play the role of Cryptosporidium. You come to Earth to find DNA for the Furon race. Furons are dying, their DNA is fading. So you've got to come back to Earth, find the DNA that was seeded there thousands of years ago. Also, you're looking for your long-lost brother, Crypto-136, who was shot down over Roswell a few years earlier. So they're the two main storyline threads. It's a 3D kind of game. You run around from over-the-shoulder view like Tomb Raider. You've also got a bunch of weapons and abilities. It's a really cool game.
We're trying to put you in the Punisher's mind, trying to give you Punisher moments. So the concept is you run around and basically take care of mobsters in many different ways, getting information that'll help you complete levels and find the ultimate bad guy behind what's going on. You can pick up weapons, you can grab guys and you can stick them on things. There's different ways of it's like 101 ways of killing a bad guy.
Stalker is a game that takes place in Chernobyl, Ukraine, based on the actual events of the 1986 nuclear disaster. In the game, in the year 2006, there was a second mysterious explosion, and the game itself takes place in 2012, 6 years after that second explosion. And the entire area around Chernobyl has been irradiated with all these anomalous energies, and your job in the game as Stalker is to be one of these stalkers who's like a poacher who goes into this zone to extract these artifacts that are for sale on the black market.
They're the biggest publisher in the world, so you know that Electronic Arts is always going to have a good showing at E3, and this year is no exception. Whether it's an update to a classic N64 title or a new adventure from the Lord of the Rings, EA had all their bases covered.
GoldenEye Rogue Agent. It is a first-person shooter, much in the spirit of the original GoldenEye. This time we're taking players onto the dark side of the Bond underworld. You get to play a villain. It's all about being the ultimate villain in the Bond universe. The AI is actually emotion-based. That's where the E in evil comes from. And by playing like a villain, you can actually manipulate their emotions. They'll fight very aggressively from cover. They'll pull death trap switches. They'll behave in a believable but unpredictable way.
The Lord of the Rings: The Third Age is the first ever console RPG based on the Lord of the Rings fiction. You control an original party of characters taken from the films and go on an adventure that runs parallel and, in a sense, in the wake of the Fellowship. It encompasses moments from the films across the entire trilogy, from Fellowship of the Ring through Return of the King.
So Battlefield 2 is the successor to Battlefield 1942, which was Game of the Year. Battlefield franchise has sold over 3 million units worldwide so far. And so basically what we're doing in the next coming year is releasing Battlefield 2, which will happen in the modern era. So it's basically bringing the Battlefield franchise up to date and changing new gameplay into the modern era. So we've created a whole new rendering engine, a whole new audio engine, as well as adding things like ragdoll physics and material penetration.
Well, Battlefield Modern Combat's all-out war on the consoles. It's for the PS2 and the Xbox. We have 24 players that can play at any given time. We have 30 vehicles. We have 70 weapons. It's just a crazy battle. We have Apache helicopters, we have Little Bird helicopters, we have Abrams tanks, we have T-98 tanks, we have speedboats. I mean, you name it, we have most of the military vehicles that you see on CNN or anything else.
Some people may say that Will Wright has a God complex, while others would argue that he's just a great game designer. Whatever the case, Wright knows how to make unique simulations. We caught up with Wright to talk about the latest in the world of The Sims.
The Sims 2 we've tried to keep it very approachable so people who played The Sims 1 can still go right into it and play like The Sims 1. But we've tried to give it much deeper gameplay. The Sims have much deeper personality, needs, motivations. Plus, more of the game is customizable. You can customize the neighborhood. You can customize the Sims at a very deep level. Their genetics, the clothes they wear, the items they buy. Well, the whole point of The Sims is that the players create the setting. And so we tried to look at every aspect of the game where they could be more involved in creating the backstory or the environment. So, for instance, they can create their own neighborhoods now. They can create terrain in SimCity and import it into The Sims and then customize it at the neighborhood level. They can customize the furniture, the Sims' clothes, and the personalities of the Sims. So they can tell also much deeper multi-generational stories between the Sims. The Sims now, they actually grow up very smoothly in different stages. They go from a baby to a toddler to a child to a teenager. At every level, they have different needs, different personality. Depending on how you play them, they can actually develop wants and fears. And so if you give them a traumatic childhood, they're going to need therapy as an adult. They can, be screwed up as a child. And they also, when they have kids, the genetics is carried down through the family. The Urbz, it's the console version of The Sims that's really starting to branch off pretty significantly from the PC version. We're going for a much more kind of trendy, edgier crowd. The Urbz is more about different groups, social groups that you might be a member of. And you actually, in the game, you kind of work your way from group to group. And each group has different, you want to dress differently and get, behave differently in different groups to become accepted in that group. So it's almost like you're infiltrating these different cultures. And in one culture, you might need to, get tattoos or body piercings. In another one, you have to buy designer jeans. I think the Urbz is kind of about all the different diversity of urban cultures, and it feels like going to New York City and going to different neighborhoods and getting a sense of the way they live, and I think the Urbz is really about that diversity, that cultural diversity.
Coming up after the break, if you just couldn't get enough of the Prince of Persia Sands of Time, there's good news for you from Ubisoft.
And if you thought the games on the show floor looked good this year, you weren't paying attention. We've got a Booth Babe extravaganza that's coming up on the Pulse E3 special.
Game on. Watch X-Play weeknights 11 p.m., 10 p.m. Central, only on Tech TV.
Ubisoft has established itself as Tom Clancy's best friend when it comes to consoles, and the bond grew stronger at E3 with Ghost Recon 2. And when you throw Prince of Persia 2 and a new World War II game into the mix, things just seem to keep getting better.
In the Prince of Persia 2, we have much more mature treatment. It's more violent, and we also redesigned the combat system a lot. But the premise is, the prince in Sands of Time did manipulate the time. So now he's hunted by the Guardian of Time called Dahaka. So it's not a matter of if he'll get caught, because Dahaka is invincible. So it's a matter of when. So the prince has to go back to the Island of Time, where the Sands of Time originated, and destroy it before its creation.
Well, Ghost Recon 2 is, of course, a sequel to the Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. It's coming out for this Christmas on Xbox, PlayStation 2, and PC. Basically, it's Ghost Recon on steroids. Bigger, better, better. We're bringing all the things that people loved about our previous game, the stealth-type action gameplay, the multiplayer, and then we're just beefing it up. We're bringing in the Havens 2 physics engine, bringing in new points of view, bringing in all sorts of new multiplayer modes. So Ghost Recon on steroids.
Brothers in Arms is really exciting. It's the most authentic game of its type. It's the true story of a squad in the 101st Airborne. So when you fight the fights in Brothers in Arms, you're fighting in the real place, to the yard. We've gone out to the battlefields in Normandy. We went to the National Archives in Washington, D.C. and pulled out the aerial reconnaissance photos and the U.S. Army Signal Corps photos, and we've recreated these battlefields so that they're authentic and real.
Rocky Legends is a sequel to the first
Rocky game. It's basically a more story-driven mode. Instead of playing just only Rocky stories, you play Apollo's story, you can play Drago's story, and you play Clubber's story too. So you get to play these guys before they became stars in the Rocky films, when they were growing up and trying to get into boxing and trying to make a name for themselves. There's over 30 playable characters in the game. A lot of them are unlockable, such as Mickey or Paulie or Bridget Nielsen's character, which is kind of weird, but she's in there as well.
Eidos is best known as a company that changed the world when it introduced us to Lara Croft. But this year they changed things up quite a bit. Whether it's singles, Flirt Up Your Life, Shell Shock, or the game you never thought you'd see, Backyard Wrestling 2, Eidos is all about variety.
The brand new Backyard Wrestling 2, There Goes the Neighborhood. It's going to be available in fall 2004. We do have characters from the first game, and we also have a new roster of new wrestlers. Some of them including New Jack, Sick Nick Mondo, in addition to like the new Babes, which is one of them is Sarah Patrick and the other one will be Janine. The game is actually featuring a new environmental engine that allows the player to use everything that has their environment. Bottom line, you can set your opponent on fire. You can use cars to hit your opponent in the face, so it's very brutal and a lot of fun. And of course, it's also going to be online.
Shell Shock Nam 67. It's the first console Vietnam-era shooter. It's on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. The storyline: you are a recruit, an army recruit who gets drafted into the army unwillingly, and doesn't want to go to Vietnam, obviously, and it's his story of witnessing everything that goes on during the Vietnam War. It really grabs you, the storyline, and it gives you a view of the Vietnam War that you don't see in other video games. You see a lot of, war atrocities and stuff that went on that, is very controversial, but it really gives the game a good body, good feel. It gives you the good whole experience of the war.
Singles, Flirt Up Your Life. And it's basically a Sims game that deals with the relationship, not so much career, and just how the two function in living in their apartment. Initially, they can only flirt with one another, and as they go along, they start to build up their friendship, relationship, and sensuality points, and then they can start doing more. They can kiss and hug and make out in bed. You're just building on the relationship. As you keep going, you can build out those relationships, and there's 12 characters to choose from. Some are compatible, some aren't.